Good. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 16th Sayreville Board of Education meeting. Excuse me. Please take notice that this public meeting of the Sayreville Board of Education was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger in accordance with Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Furthermore, in accordance with NJSA 10-4-6 through 21, a copy of this notice was posted outside the board secretary's office, and a copy was also filed with the clerk of the borough of Sayreville. Please rise to salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Ms. Hill.
Mr. Balca?
Here.
Mrs. Bloom?
Here.
Mr. Fernandez?
Here.
Mrs. Kenny?
Here.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Here.
Mrs. Pabon?
Here.
Mr. John Walsh?
Here.
Mr. Patrick Walsh?
Here.
Mr. Esposito?
Here. Can you summarize executive session, please, Ms. Hill?
The board discussed negotiations related to the Teamsters. Personnel was on the agenda but was not discussed.
Thank you. I don't believe we have any correspondence, at least I didn't see any. Let's go to minutes. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes from the regular and executive session of March 2nd?
So moved.
Mrs. Bloom?
Second.
Mr. Walsh, I believe, beat you.
Hey.
Roll call.
Mr. Balca?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Yes.
Mrs. Pabon?
Yes.
Mr. John Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Patrick Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes, thank you. And just in time, Mr. Farley, you want to kick us off?
Good evening. I'd like to start off by saying that a few days ago marked 1 year from closing of in-person instruction from school and the beginning of our quarantine due to the coronavirus pandemic. It is crazy how fast this time has gone by and how the world we see it today has completely changed. Anyway, earlier this month, the top 10 of the class of 2021 was announced. Neve Mistry, also the president of the class of 2021, was named valedictorian, and following him as salutatorian is Meenal Patel. The rest of the top 10 in chronological order from 3rd to 10th is Camille Zesh, Isabella Dabrowski, Michelle Lee, Ann Murakan, Yash Patel, Jasmeet Singh, Nicholas Tchaikovsky, and Manali Patel. This class is extremely talented, so each of these students should be very proud of their academic achievements. I'd also like to congratulate Rachel Velasquez and Celine Mira for being named Ceramic Artist of the Month for March. At the New Jersey DECA State competition, we had several members of Sayreville High School place in a total of 9 events, and each will compete in the national competition later this school year. Out of the 9 events in which Sayreville DECA members placed, 3 of them were first place finishes. For Odyssey of the Mind, all 4 teams that competed at the regional tournament did well and were able to advance to the state tournament for April 3rd. In other news, New Jersey FBLA began their state leadership conference this week. In the opening session, which occurred yesterday evening, Sayreville was proudly recognized as an outstanding chapter and Gold Seal chapter for their hard work this school year. Additionally, Mr. Howard was named Outstanding Local Chapter Advisor for his continuous dedication to the club. Furthermore, Vihan Iswar and Ananya Kondor received Business Achievement Awards. Camille Zesh achieved a Community Service Award, Joshua Gorniak was recognized as a Gold member, and finally Meenal Patel was recognized as a Gold officer. The Sayreville War Memorial High School FBLA chapter has certainly made full strides within the past year in the state, and these awards prior to the awards for the competitive events portrays that. For sports, the boys basketball team, after dealing with much adversity, concluded their season with an emotional win over Piscataway Tech earlier in the month. Both Daniel Golichewski and Aiden Ryan of the boys basketball team were named to the GMC White Division second team. The girls basketball team finished with a record of 7-7. Both Stephanie Van Note and Brooke Holland of the girls basketball team were named to the GMC White Division first team. Stephanie Van Note was also selected to the GMC All-Conference first team. Both the girls and boys bowling teams finished with records of 10-3 and 6-3-1. Also, both the boys and girls swim teams have continued to have several swim meets. The boys and girls winter track teams had their first meet last week. Later this month, on March 26th, Baseball pitchers and catchers are able to report in preparation for their spring season. Following on April 1st, all spring sports will be able to begin practice in order to prepare for competition later in the month. Aside from sports, yesterday started phase 3 of the hybrid learning schedule with 4 days of hybrid learning and 1 day of full virtual. I've seen a few new faces in school, but the class sizes seem to have stayed relatively the same. To conclude, I'd like to wish you all an early, happy St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully tomorrow will bring everyone the luck that they need and deserve. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thanks, Stephen. Thank you. Good job as always.
As always.
So I have a question now. I always ask you a basketball question, and it's probably me with my phone and all that stuff. I didn't see any games again this year. So did you play? I know you were going to get 5 games in at one point.
Yeah, we ended up playing 5 games. They were all live streamed, and luckily because of the new standard set by Governor Murphy and the NJS-IAA, we were able to have our parents come to the home games, and we had 4 out of the 5 games we played were home.
Nice. You have a senior night?
We did have a senior night. So yeah, it was very brief, but definitely something I'm going to remember, especially ending on a win.
Good,
So.
good. Yeah, hopefully, well, listen, I'm glad you got a few games. What was your record?
That was our only win, was our final game.
All right, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's good. You got to schedule those games at senior night.
Yeah.
Got to win. Okay. Any questions? Mr. Farley from anyone? Thank you. Mrs. Sang, welcome back again.
Good evening, Board of Education members and administrators. Sayreville Middle School Athletics starts off with the Sayreville Middle School wrestling team will have their first match Friday. Tryouts for middle school baseball team will take place March 29th through March 31st. All registered athletes have received further information in regards to clearance. Boys and girls track tryouts will be March 29th and April 1st at 3:15, weather pending. More information to follow as the registration is updated. As for extracurricular activities, Student Council held a meeting and discussed ideas that would benefit the school community through hybrid and virtual learning. The Student Council will be selling lawn signs and customized buttons for all 8th grade graduates. More information will be sent out in the upcoming weeks. Community Service will be sponsoring a School Spirit Week in the upcoming weeks. The SMS PTO presents yearbooks. The PTO is collecting pictures until April 1st and working on the yearbook. The sale ends April 23rd. Year-end activities are in discussion with the administration on hosting an 8th grade dance. PTO will be coordinating a plant and vegetable sale. The middle school community will recognize World Down Syndrome Day by wearing crazy socks to show love and support towards all individuals with Down syndrome on Friday, March 19th and Monday, March 22nd. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. Good job. I have a question, follow-up. So a couple meetings ago, you were going to virtual cheerleading, and you'd never done it before, if memory serves. How was it?
I'm not on the cheerleading team, but as far as I know, they did really well.
Yeah? Everybody liked it?
Yeah.
Good, okay, thank you. Any questions for our middle school rep? No?
Great job.
Thank you. You want to stay for the whole meeting?
No, thank you.
Mr. Esposito.
There it is.
Good job.
I don't want to stay for the whole meeting either.
Is that an option?
Thanks, guys. That was great.
Haley's going to take me home.
Okay, why don't we go right to the Vice President's comments?
You guys can go if you want.
Yeah, get out of here.
Great work.
I'll stay for a little bit.
Yeah, why
You
don't
are
you
the
go
man.
since Mr. Farley
Bye,
stole
Haley.
all my
Thank
thunder
you.
anyway.
I was
The
kind of
tourna-
reading that.
The NCAA tournament doesn't start till Thursday, so I got.
Rutgers 9:20? Rutgers is on?
Yep.
Yep. Once again, Mr. Farley did an excellent job and stole most of my thunder, but I do want to mention that that top 10 that he announced, that is, the most, we're proud of all the achievements of our students, but this is what it's about. I mean, this is what we're all here for, education, and these are kids who worked really hard, excelled, and we're very, very proud of them. Of course, we're proud of our athletics and everything here, but this is what it's all about. And I'm sure we'll have some point. I think Lucy was at the breakfast where they were honored, and I'm sure Dr. Leo, restrictions changed. Maybe we can get them at a board meeting and honor them later on in the year.
Definitely.
Great. But again, we're very, very proud of all of you for that. The one thing I'll add is congratulations and accommodations to the members of both the Sayreville Warmore High School and Sayreville Middle School Odyssey of the Mind teams who recently competed in their respective regional tournaments. All of our Sayreville OTM teams performed exceptionally and will advance to the state tournament on April 3rd. Likewise, both teams from Sayreville Middle School advanced to the state final tournament with one team tying for first place. So again, great job. So I also agree with Mr. Farley. I wish everyone a very happy St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Do we have any presentations?
No,
Yeah, good.
I can do some singing and dancing if you would like
Never
that.
mind.
All right, then we will go right to Mr. Balka for our finance highlights.
Okay, we met on March 9th. On the ESIP side, the lighting's in progress. We're moving right along with that project. The bids are out for the roof and mechanicals, and the award will probably be in the meeting, or at our April meeting. And the solar PPA, we're waiting the contract documents. On the infrastructure front, the Eisenhower windows are 99.9% complete. You're just waiting for one AC unit to be moved into a blank spot where a window was installed. The elementary vestibules are done. Wilson was past its final inspection, so that project's over. The gym HVAC at the high school is on schedule. The middle school water heater was installed, and we discussed the Eisenhower floor at their gym multi-purpose cafeteria room, and the committee decided to go with a vinyl NCA-approved floor rather than replace it with a wood floor because it's, for the environment that it serves, it'd probably best be better off using the vinyl product.
Sure, absolutely.
We were told of the new supervisor who's going to replace our outgoing night supervisor, and she's here today. I think personnel would probably bring her up later. On the budget side, we discussed two items on the budget. We discussed the capital projects that are in the budget and how we're going to probably reduce the amount we're withdrawing for the capital projects in the budget so we can take it out of capital reserves this year and do the preliminary work so we can get the bid documents out before time so the project could get done earlier. And then there was a change in the formula for the district contribution for special services in the budget. So we basically reduced some of our regular budget to increase the special services budget. Both these changes have no effect on the tax levy or for the district.
It's terrific. Okay. Yeah, it was a good meeting. I had to jump off towards the end, but it was a good meeting, real good. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Balka about finance? No? Okay, you did a good job. Mr. Wolf, personnel?
Yeah, we had a personnel meeting earlier today. The highlight of which was interviewing our candidate for evening building and grounds supervisor, who's here with us, I believe. Excellent. We're very excited for you. Wish you the best of luck. And then we also, I want to commend Dr. Labby, who was able to secure, with the help of one of our former board members, was able to secure vaccinations for all our staff. Or whoever wants it from our staff. That's definitely not the job of a superintendent, but obviously it shows a great interest and the love for our faculty and staff, and very excited that anyone who wants the opportunity to have a vaccination is going to be able to have one. Thanks to Dr. Labby's efforts, along with Danielle Pilak, who was on our board previously and is someone who, like I said before, I think we have a great board here. We have an excellent board. She's one of the best board members I ever worked with. So again, just like what we were talking about before, yeah, Lucy was on that first. Like I said, I wasn't for her, but she, that's someone who, when we were talking about this before, even when you're not on a board, you continue to do for your community if you really care and do for the children of Sayreville. That's a great thing. So again, thank you, Dr. Labby, and thanks to Danielle Pilak for helping us out with that vaccinations.
Yeah, that's a good job mentioning that. And I'm going to tell you, because Lucy, you speak to probably more board members than I do, but I email other towns, districts, and have conversations. Everyone's trying to do it. Nobody's doing it. You got it. So thank you. Really, good job, John, bringing it up. That was good. And welcome. Not welcome. You've been here. We see you working hard after all the board meetings, and congratulations. Well deserved. Any questions for Mr. Walsh? Nope. All right. Lucy, Middlesex, tomorrow night, right?
Next week, the 23rd.
Yeah, right.
23rd is the next meeting. You'll all get your invitation in the email. If you don't, I'll forward it to the board members. I believe it's going to start at 6, so I told Marilyn we have to be quick with our student achievement same night. Right now, that's about it, but as Anthony said, you know, as we get information, a lot of other districts are recommending getting their staff vaccinated, and they're looking into it, but nobody, as far as I know, yet has actually gotten it moving, so we're very fortunate. I also want to mention one other thing. It came out in a bomber blast today, but I think it's really cool. The SCA is going to be giving away board games. They collected board games, New Jersey's Education Association, I get my associations confused, purchased thousands of board games, and all different counties will be distributing them, but this is going to be on Saturday, March the 20th at Kennedy Park from 10:30 to 1 p.m. So when you're stuck in the house with the kids with nothing to do, go get a new board game for free.
Luz, can you pick me up a Sorry?
I'll see if they have.
Remember Sorry? I love Sorry.
I happen to know the person distributing, so I'll see what I can do for you. If they have it, I'll ask. Because it is your fault.
Well, we know what to get them for Christmas.
Thank you.
But
Thank you, Lucy.
can you just make sure I get that invitation, because I didn't get one last time?
Okay, when I get mine, I will forward it. It should go out to all board members.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Did you guys
Thank you
get
very
it
much.
Because you were there. I know you were at the meeting, so you obviously got it. Okay.
I did, I got one.
Okay.
You got one already?
No,
for the last
meeting.
Oh, yeah.
No, I haven't gotten it yet either.
I think that's it. Unless anyone else has
That's
any
it.
questions, we can go right to the man, Dr. Labby. No? Did I miss something?
Is it public participation first? I think it's
Oh, yes. Pardon me. Sorry. I got my mind on that board meeting. That Middlesex meeting.
Sorry.
So, yeah, the games.
Sorry.
Can I? Okay, at this time, we'll open it up to the public.
Sorry.
Unbelievable. For agenda items only. Eric, we got nothing and no one here. Okay, we'll close public. And I guess Dr. Labby, you're up now.
Okay, thank you. I'll direct your attention to finance. Number 12, we did have to make some minor changes to the 2021-2022 tentative budget, so we're asking you once again to reapprove that. It's the revised version of it. You can find that on pages 3 and 4. Number 13, and for similar reasons, we're asking you to approve the 2021-22 submission of preschool expansion aid, in particular the enrollment and budget workbook. That was partially the reason why we're asking you to approve the revised version of the tentative budget, due to a calculation change that the Department of Education just provided us. And you can find that on page 4 as well. Numbers 14 and 15, I think Mr. Balka talked about this during his part of open public session. We're asking you to approve an agreement with the Spiegel Architectural Group, to which we'll pay them $59,900 in professional services for the window replacement project at the Truman Elementary School. And of course, number 15 coincides with that, in which we're asking you to withdraw the funds from capital reserve in order to pay for that. You can find all that on page 4. Similarly, number 16 and 17, we're asking you once again to approve for us to pay Spiegel $122,500 for the professional services involved with the boiler replacement project at the Sayreville School. And of course, we need you to approve the withdrawal of those funds from capital reserve. You can find that on page 5. And finally, finance, number 18, we are so grateful and so appreciative. We did receive a very generous donation of $1,000 from the Atix family, a family in Sayreville. They actually donated it to the Sayreville Middle School. We forgot to put that in the motion there, but that's for the Sayreville Middle School D-Wing Staff Lounge. So we can't thank the Atix family enough for that very, very generous donation of $1,000, which we'll use to enhance the environment of our staff members in that faculty lounge. So on behalf of Mr. Gluhusky and all of our staff at the middle school, we thank the Atix family. Any questions on finance?
Was there a reason? They just decided to donate, or was this
Just
something?
very kind people.
awesome.
Yeah, very grateful people. They were very appreciative of the experience their children had at the middle school, and they wanted to give back to the community.
That's
Yep,
great. Thank you.
wonderful family.
Awesome.
Okay, seeing no other questions or comments, I'll move to student achievement. Number 2, we're asking you to approve the Sayreville War Memorial High School 2021 senior class trip to Black Bear Lake in Millstone Township. You can find that on page 9. That will be on Tuesday, June 1st. As you all know, traditionally, our kids go to Disney World, but obviously, during the pandemic last spring and currently, it's just, we can't possibly do that. But Mr. Rubino and Mr. Howard, who is the senior class advisor, have been working tirelessly with their committees of faculty and with students to come up with the absolute best opportunities they can for our seniors to celebrate their last year here at Sayreville War Memorial High School. And with that said, I'd like to segue into something else that we're going to ask for your approval on, and I hope that I have your support with. As you also can imagine, at this point in time, although indoor dining restrictions have been, lowered or they're allowing more people in, they're up to 50% capacity, I do not foresee it becoming 100% by the time prom time rolls around. So all of our class advisors, our junior class advisors, our senior class advisors, as well as the 8th grade advisors for the 8th grade dinner dance, are very reluctant to put $1,000 to $2,000 down on an indoor venue if they're not going to be able to entertain the entire group at one time. So they've been exploring different ways in which we can hold a junior prom, a senior prom, or even an 8th grade dinner dance. And thanks to the work of Mr. Howard and his committee of faculty, as well as the collaboration from the middle school, they've come up with a wonderful idea of looking behind you, board members, that space behind you, putting a tent with lighting, a dance floor, and actually an artificial floor with the dance floor, with real couches and fine dining furniture, putting something out there for all 3 groups, to which we could hold an outdoor senior prom, an outdoor junior prom, and an outdoor 8th grade dance.
That's great.
Now, the problem in which I need your support with is the fact that normally during the course of a year or even 2 years, these groups fundraise. And the fundraising offsets the cost of the individual parents for the bids. But these groups haven't been able to fundraise. They haven't been in school. So you're talking about a senior class which has far limited funds than a normal senior class would have. Junior class, even less. And an 8th grade class with even less than that. So for them to be able to pay for the costs of the tent and the furniture and all that setup for the venue, and then for the food and the service, and remember, you can't right now have a buffet style dinner. Everything has to be served to you according to the indoor and outdoor dining restrictions. So that would mean that you'd have to have a service. People would have to be serving these people. Also, they'd have to pay for the DJ. When you add up all those expenses, the amount of money that each individual child would have to pay for themselves and a person to accompany them is extraordinary. So we are getting quotes. We have asked Mr. Howard and Mr. Rubino and Mr. Gluhusky to find us, quotes. But we have a vendor that can probably do everything for about $44,000.
All 3 or per event?
All 3. All 3 included. They would come, they would set up the tent, and then they would go ahead and move furniture in and out based upon the junior prom, senior prom, and the 8th grade dinner dance. And that way, our students would only be responsible for using their whatever funds that they've raised, as well as what their parents will pay to pay for the actual food, the service, and the DJ. I believe Ms. Hill and I have been able to allocate or find monies. $44,000 may not pay the total cost of that because it's probably going to be about $50,000. But we can't go past $44,000 because of the bid threshold. So you can expect that we'll be asking you either at a special board meeting, if we have to get it approved immediately, or at during the April board meeting, for you to approve the cost of setting up the tent and everything with the outdoor venue to support our junior class, our senior class, and our 8th graders, who I don't think anybody can argue with me have gone through a lot, as well as all of our students. But when you've got kids that are leaving this school, never had a junior prom, and are looking at a senior year that it's not even close to the senior years of their predecessors. And even though our kids last year didn't have the opportunity that kids prior to them had had in terms of closing out a school year, they had 2/3 of a school year. These kids have had far less than that. So, like I said, I just wanted to put that out to you. I didn't want to blindside you with that. Obviously, it will be discussed in finance too. But I wanted to make sure all of you are aware of the fact that we will be asking for your support with regard to this. And we might even be asking you to give us a half an hour for a special board meeting if we need it approved sooner than April 20th.
Well, let me ask you a question. Well, first of all, kudos to Mr. Howard and staff. Just thinking outside the box. I don't know how everyone's going to vote. I think it's an awesome idea, especially for these kids. They deserve something. But I have a question. So you 44,000 is your limit, right? You have 3 events. So if it costs 50, let's just say, right? I mean, $6,000. Why couldn't we just do like 30,000, 10,000, 10,000 to get to the 50? It's 3 different events.
I don't think you can separate it.
Even though
it's one
3
vendor.
nights, 3
It's just
different
one
nights?
vendor. Our auditors would obviously see through that.
Yeah, well, I guess so. But so we'd have to use that. We couldn't alter the vendor. It'd have to. That price is based on 3.
They would see through that you're trying to circumvent the bidding
Of course
process.
we are. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it's $6,000 that I'm sure that can be offset within the cost. I mean, if we're paying that bulk, then that $6,000 either they can try to negotiate the $6,000 out, meaning maybe there's something in there that's not, they don't want to lease, they can negotiate that out, or maybe that's just $6,000 split 3 ways, which is $2,000 each for each class that they have to build into the food charge and so forth. But it still will lower significantly the cost for these kids to attend the 8th grade dinner dance, the junior prom, and the senior prom.
The seniors must have something in their account, right?
I think they do, but it's limited because they didn't have a chance to fundraise last year, and they didn't have a chance to fundraise this year. Same thing with the junior class.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, excellent.
Awesome idea.
Okay, moving along, did anybody have any questions on student achievement or comments? Okay, so moving on to governance. We ask you to approve this every year, and that is the summer hours, and that's for our administrators, secretaries, technicians, and technology engineers. You can find that on page 11. There is an asterisk there, just in case we do revise the school district calendar. And I know people have been asking, are we going to pull those 3 days back? Because we always build in 3 days for snow days, and we didn't use those days. And yes, we are going to do that, but it's a little too early to do it right now. So probably at some point, either on April 20th or maybe the first meeting in May, we're probably going to ask you to revise the calendar to move graduation up, or the last day of school up, 3 days. And if that so happens, then this regular summer hours date will change, because obviously the last day of school will change. Any questions on governance or comments on governance? Okay, and then finally with personnel, as we normally do, numbers 3 and 4, as well as 14 and 15, which you can find on page 13 in the addendum. We're asking you to hire new non-certificated as well as certificated staff for the 2020-21 school year. And then as Mr. Walsh noted, we do have a transfer, but it's really a promotion. Mr. Walsh talked a little bit about her, but I would like to say a few words about her as well. Since I've been in the district, this is my 7th year, and I think Marzina's been in the district 6. I've had the opportunity to work very closely with her, first while she was the night lead here at the high school. Second, while she, in her current capacity, is the day lead at the middle school. But moreover, she has a reputation that exceeds herself. She's someone in my second or third year in which I was investigating a certain situation, and all I kept learning about was this incredible custodian over at the middle school, and how hard she worked, and how much people truly liked working with her. And it was Marzina. And I quickly learned why when I had the opportunity to work with her while I was the interim principal here at the high school and she was the night lead. And then while I was substituting in Miss Ciampa's class at the middle school this past fall, I had once again the opportunity to work with her. And, you know, my respect for her at that point grew into admiration and appreciation for, number one, her work ethic. Number two, her dedication to the staff and students that she serves. But number three, her leadership and the style in which she goes ahead and she interfaces with students, staff, administration. Moreover, the way that she motivates the people that she works with. So it is with great pride and is with great pleasure that I recommend to you for the promotion of Evening Buildings, Grounds, and Security Supervisor, Ms. Marzina Resnick. And Marzina is here today, so Marzina, please stand. I think she is, upon your approval, is going to be a tremendous addition to our administrative team. And if I can make one more comment with regard to personnel, I had promised a good friend of mine that I would say a few words about him today. Speaking of the high school, when I was the interim principal, I got a chance to get to know the day lead here, Victor Narkowitz. And Victor is actually finishing his 44th year here in the district this year. And to think that that man's been working here when I was 10. I was 10 years old when he started working here. Is just pretty amazing. And he hasn't slowed down a single bit. He still runs around here like he was the 21-year-old that, or 18-year-old that they hired. I don't know how old he was when he was hired here, but it was 44 years ago. But he still runs around like he's that young man. So I've been promising him that I give him a shout out. So Victor, there's your shout out. That's it for me, Ms. Esposito.
All right. Last call for any questions about our superintendent's report.
Okay, I do have a question, I'm sorry. I have two questions. Okay, the first...
Nobody wants to watch basketball tonight, Mrs. Bloom. Nobody.
It's all right.
Please, go ahead.
Dr. Labby, Black Bear Lake.
Yes.
The word lake puts me into a panic.
Sure.
What exactly are the activities that the kids are going to be doing at the lake?
There will be water activities, but
Oh, God.
there were water activities when they went to Disneyland too, Disney World.
This is true.
Yeah,
But not a whole lake.
It's not a huge lake. In
Okay.
fact, it's funny because when I saw it, I'm like, boy, that sounds familiar, because it's 5 minutes from my home in Jackson.
And you've never
Very
been there.
popular, very highly rated for many reasons, most particularly safety.
Okay.
And they don't have any gators like Disney.
So it's not a huge
that's
lake, Mrs. Bloom, but it's a recreational lake where all kinds of recreation activities that the kids can perform, and with an extensive lifeguarding team.
Okay. That was, and where I had another, someone pointed out to me that on the calendar that we just approved for the 22-23 school year, that January 1st is on a Sunday, so therefore the Monday would be a federal holiday, and we're coming back in on that Monday. So we might want to just look at that again.
That has been done in
down
the
road.
past. That's been done in the past.
Okay,
And there's been no issue with that in the past.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Farley, rest easy. You have a lifeguard coming.
Oh, I didn't mention, he is the lifeguard.
No, I actually thought about being a lifeguard this summer, but got a little...
Good summer job.
And I'm going to be, since it's 5 minutes from my house, I'm going to be there like the whole day.
Yeah, but I don't know how, I don't think, because I saw, like, I did my own research too in the venue, because I'm on class council as well, and I don't believe, because there's a heated pool, so I don't think anyone's going to be swimming in the lake. I think it's only a part of like there's a water obstacle course.
Right, there's water, it's a recreational lake, so they do have like tubing and things like that in the lake.
It's just for one day? These kids?
Yeah.
go?
One day.
One day?
Yeah.
All day trip.
They were going to do the Hercules
Sounds like
Lake.
fun.
There are gators in there, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's in there.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept Dr. Labby's report.
So moved.
Mrs.
Second.
Bloom, Mr. Wolf. Roll call, Ms. Bloom? Ms.
No,
Hill?
I don't do roll call. That would be
Ms.
Ms.
Hill?
Hill.
Sorry.
You're right over there.
Mr. Balca?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mrs. Kenny?
Yes.
Mrs. Napolitano?
Yes.
Mrs. Pavone?
Yes.
Mr. John Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Patrick Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'll open it up to the public for any items concerning the district. Seeing none, Eric? Seeing none, we will close public. Okay. At this time, there's nothing else, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Walsh?
Second.
Napolitano?
We're breaking records.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. See you next month.
Guys, thank